Hey, yo, what up, what up? Welcome back. This is not a podcast. You already know what it is. It's just my thoughts with Markman. Yeah, the background's a little different. You might hear a little echo in the room. Definitely not in my normal studio space. I'm traveling. So this weekend I'm in Tacoma, Washington. All right. Tonight, this is Saturday. So tonight on June 29th, I'm going to be with the Night Show. So it's a live event in Tacoma, Washington, which celebrates artists and the artist community in the Pacific Northwest. So shout out to Daryl Cruz, shout out to the whole team over there. So we're gonna have a good time in Tacoma tonight. Shout out to the whole Pacific Northwest. But whatever, man. I'm on the road. I got some time. I still want to do a video. I still want to talk about music with y'all. I want to shout out Lupe Fiasco. Dropped a new project on Friday. Yesterday is June 28th. It was called Samurai. When it comes to Lupe, I just want to be clear, somebody who I put in that elite level of top tier MCs. I put Black Thought in that class. I put Royce the 5'9" in that section of MCs. I put Kendrick in that section of MCs. And there's a lot of others, but those are the top three. And then Lupe come to mind like it's just kind of this class of MC, this top tier, this elite level just lyricism, you know what I mean? So I'm a fan. Lupe has my respect. Now, with that being said, I can't say that I've always been in tune with Lupe Fiasco, meaning this. And there's fans who are like super in tune to his frequency, everything they drop, they get it, it connects. I throughout his career, I can't say that I've always been in tune on the same frequency as him, meaning that sometimes it goes over my head, but not even just over your head, because it's never something that you can't understand, right? But sometimes your frequencies is like he's here, I'm here, and we kind of miss each other. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just that those frequencies don't cross paths, right? But so I say all that to say I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I'm the most knowledgeable about every single Lupe track and Lupe lore throughout his whole career, which is over 20 years at this point, right? But he has my respect. The guy is brilliant. Food and Liquor is a classic to me. The Cool is a classic to me. The Fahrenheit mixtapes. Songs like Mural on Tetsuo and Youth, just incredible displays of lyricism. The last time I spoke to Lupe was in 2020. I interviewed him. It was via Zoom when he dropped the House EP. This is right when we was on lockdown. This was like the height of COVID and nobody knew what was going to happen or really what we were doing. So he and I had an interview over Zoom that's on Genius's YouTube. I'll put a link in the description. And we were talking about his house, the project House. And, it was a great conversation. And with Lupe, and I've sat with him once or twice at MTV. You prepare for interviews, and with Lupe, I certainly prepare for interviews, but I never quite know where the conversation will lead us. But I'm always surprised, pleasantly surprised of where it goes. You kind of just let the conversation go where it goes. You prepare for the best, and then you just go in and have a conversation like a human being. And I think Lupe is brilliant. So I say all that to say. So Friday he dropped his Samurai album. And I pressed play on Friday morning, right? On Friday morning, I listened to 3 projects. I didn't get to listen to everything that dropped, but I listened to 3 right off the bat. I listened to Megan Thee Stallion's Megan album. I listened to Camila Cabello's album, the CXOXO. And I thought about making a video about the 2 Drake joints that was on the album, but I didn't have a ton to say about it, right? And we know how this YouTube thing works. Every time you put Drake in the headlines, the views go up. So, it's good for business. But I didn't have a ton to say about it. I don't think there was too much there, especially as it relates to this battle. I think it was just Drake being Drake. I think eventually Drake has to get back to the business after the battle of being Drake, right? And part of that is making these type of records, because he makes several different type of records. So, it was fine. Yeah, I just didn't have anything to say about it. I don't know. If y'all want to talk about it, maybe if we spark something in the comments, it might spark a new idea or something. But I listened and I didn't. It wasn't like, oh, I got to say something about this. So I didn't rush to say something about it. So I listened to Megan. I listened to Camila, and I listened to Lupe, of course. So my first thought, right, just like listening to Lupe, and I went into it. I didn't listen to the Samurai single before. Like I had just kind of missed it. One of those things when I say like the frequencies are on the line when Samurai dropped, that for whatever reason I had just missed it, right? But I listened to the whole project, and my first thought was like, man, it sounds good. Like, I'm not even talking about lyrically, because lyrically you always know you're gonna get something. Lyrically, you know there's a purpose. Lyrically, that's part of Lupe's supreme skill set is the lyricism. So you know there's always gonna be intent. There's a reason for being lyrically. You're gonna get something. I hadn't even dived into the lyricism of the project. It was just like listening to it straight through. It's an 8-song project. I'm like, yo, this just sounds good sonically. And shout out to Soundtrack. Soundtrack produced it, so that makes sense. And I think they're fans, and there's portions of the media who I think downplay lyricism. And I'm not one of those people who thinks that everything in hip hop has to be lyrical. I don't think that everything has to have like a super deep meaning or layers of meaning or intention. Sometimes music could just feel good, right? But I always believe that there are fans who are threatened by lyricism, like, because it's hard to do. Also, it's not an easy thing to do, and everybody's like, yo, I could rap, but there's levels to this shit. There's levels to this rapping shit. So, I feel like when a portion of the fans or the portion of the media or critics or detractors want to like downplay someone with like this high level of lyricism, or who approaches their music with a high level of lyricism, they write it off as this term, right? Like we've heard it before, like lyrical miracle. Almost like saying that people are rhyming words just to rhyme, and I think that is meant to downplay the musicality of artists, right? And I feel like I've seen artists like Lupe at times looped into when people want to downplay the brilliance of his stuff, it's like lyrical miracle. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's fair. Because like right off the bat, before like Lupe's shit just sounds good sonic. Like Lupe, for all of his lyricism, has given us hits, has given us stuff that just feels good, that sounds good, like Superstar, Paris to Tokyo, Kick Push. For all that was there, it just sound good. It just felt good. So there's a musician there too. It's not just lyricism, it's musicians. So, I say all that to say when I first pressed play on Samurai, the first thing that stood out to me was the musicality. Just like, yo, this is good music. This just feels good. I don't know if it puts me in the space of like, wow, I would listen to this again. Like, it just makes me feel good. And I start to listen, and I determined that I just like the project. The project feels good to me off first listen. I'm there with it. And then I start to read up on the project and learn the concept of the project, because when I first heard it, everything kind of went over my head. I said I went in blind. So basically, Lupe Fiasco's Samurai album is built off of a question, right, that Lupe asked himself. And that question is, what if Amy Winehouse was a battle rapper? And I'm like, the fuck? Like, what? Like, it's just funny because, like, who thinks that, like, that hadn't occurred to me, but it makes perfect sense. So Lupe broke it all down. He spoke with BT, with journalist Jelani Williams. Is a really good article. I'll actually link the article in the description too if y'all want to read it. Y'all should read it. Support good journalism. Support good written work. But Lupe said he was inspired by a scene in the 2015 Amy documentary. We're talking about the late Amy Winehouse. I say Amy Winehouse. I believe everybody knows, just incredible artist. We all know who Amy Winehouse is, right? Yeah, I don't got to explain it. 2015 Amy documentary. And she's leaving a voicemail for Salam Remy, who was her main producer for her breakout album. And she's explaining to him that I guess it's about her writing whatever she's writing, whatever she's creating at the time. But she explains how she keeps coming up with like Wu-Tang like battle raps. She says this. She says, they're just pouring out of me like Wu-Tang stuff, but really neat, very beautifully alliterated little battle raps. So next time you want to come for me, have a battle rap off, I'm going to kill you because I'm a samurai. And there is the inspiration for the title track, Samurai, and then the crux or a portion of this album, which is also called Samurai. That's the quote. So Lupe says, when he's speaking to BT, to Jelani Williams, says, what would it be like if she was a battle rapper? She kind of mentioned it. I don't know the full context of what was going on in her life at the time, and it's just watching the documentary and the way they kind of placed that as she would leave voicemails for her producer. That particular one just had to be related to rap. And initially, it just started out as one song, Samurai, and then it just went into, well, what if she was in a battle? What would those raps sound like? So, dude wrote a whole album with that question in his mind, like from the perspective of Amy Winehouse, like if she was part of like the URL or Smack or something, just battle raps, like which is crazy in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Like who thinks of that? Who pushes that envelope? Who? Lupe does. You know what I'm saying? The album also connects to Lupe's love of jazz. He has this quote. He says, if this album never came out, I'm just as comfortable with it coming out because for me, it's a homage to someone who I consider to be an important and an empowering figure in the world of jazz and music in general. He's talking about Amy. So I don't know if there's a duty or a service to the masses. My fans know what they're going to get, so I'm not even worried about them. But in terms of the craft itself, we can choose what we want to do as artists. And that's the really, really dope thing about Samurai. And I'm still absorbing the album. I'm not sitting here doing a lyric breakdown or anything, but for me, it felt important to share with y'all as I'm listening, because Lupe is one of those special artists, and I'm a part of the music business. I work in the music business. One conversation that Lupe and I had back in 2020 was I had said how the music and the business often, the art and the business often rub together. And he challenged me. He was like, yo, you being too nice. He didn't say, I'm paraphrasing, but you're being too nice. No, they collide. Like they're not supposed to work together. I forget his exact words. Again, you can watch the interview, the links in the description. But music and business art and business, art and commerce kind of work against each other, especially when you're creating for creative sake. So, I don't know that there's a real commercial reason that, I don't know if this album goes platinum. I don't want to put limits on Lupe or double platinum or triple platinum. Like I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? But and he's reached those platinum heights before. Let's not get it twisted. But this just seems like art. This is expression. This is, I started with an idea. I wanted to see it through. I wanted to paint this picture. Boom, here it is for you to enjoy, for those who want to enjoy it. And I think it's beautiful because I think a lot of times we get caught up on sales and streaming numbers and this and how successful something is. And sometimes great art just exists to exist. It's just like, man, we're just better off for this existing. Like, who cares what the numbers are? Like, did you see the picture that was painted? Another thing that I thought was really dope about this album too, that I just want to mention for long-time Lupe fans, is it's the first time that Lupe put an album out with his partner Chili. His partner, his manager. If you know Lupe, you know Chill. Chili had been incarcerated for just about almost 20 years for the length of Lupe's career, especially from the major label part, from the Atlantic debut all the way until now. And Chili came out in 2023. So Lupe revealed that this was the first album, and he would consult Chili, and Chili would help him work on the album while he was incarcerated. So I guess through telephone conversations, maybe he had email, I don't know. But the difference is, this is the first time, like in person, that Chill is in the studio with Lupe, and they're putting this together in person, in tandem, with the real kind of physical connection, being in each other's space. So I thought that was dope too, for just people who've been following Lupe's story. I think right there that's a win in itself, to see his man come home from prison, and they get back to what they started together. I'm gonna keep sitting with this album, man, but definitely leave your thoughts in the comments. I know there's a lot of Lupe fans out there. Again, some more knowledgeable than me. So as I'm absorbing this, let's talk in the comments about the different connections, about the different things going on in this album, all right? Like, subscribe, comment. You know the deal. I think next time you see me, we'll be back to normal. You know what I'm saying? Regular background, probably a little less echo. I just wanted to talk to y'all. That's all right? Peace.